All right, we've got Ruth Ann Powell of Key Security Systems. Ruth Ann and I actually met when I was first getting into this whole world of associations. Ruth Ann, I don't know if you remember this, you sponsored me to come into, I believe it was a CAI meeting. I think it was a breakfast meeting. And I thought, oh, that's great. I can meet a lot of people. I can learn more things. Wonderful. And then, if I remember correctly, they went around the room and everybody that was new had to stand up and talk in front of everybody. I'm like, wait a second. I don't know if I signed up for that portion of this, but yeah, you kind of introduced me to a lot of this world. So it's we kind of ended up where we started. So I'm so happy to have you on here. Why don't you kind of explain to everybody key security systems? Obviously, we all know what security is. But why don't you explain to everybody kind of your world that you live in and a little bit of your background, if you don't mind?
Well, thanks so much, Derek. And it was a pleasure to have you as my guest at CAI. You were fantastic and you're doing great things. And just so proud of where you've been and where you've come. And really grateful that you've invited me to be on your program. My name is Ruth Ann Powell, and my husband is Key Powell. And I am in the security world because of him. I actually trained to be a nutritionist and worked as a nutritionist for WIC here in Collier County and at the hospital NCH healthcare system in their outpatient wellness system for many years. And when I had my fourth child, um, she was turning 3 and going to preschool, and we had an opening. Our office manager was leaving to take another job. And so my husband thought it would be best if I came and worked for him. And so I started off managing his office, dispatching guys and taking payments, doing the books, and doing some marketing on the side. And now I do HR and marketing exclusively. I have someone else that does the office management role, and I have another bookkeeper who does much better at that than I did.
I did not know that your background was nutrition. That's
Yes.
amazing. Oh, you would hate to see my daily diet. You would cringe. I needed a nutritionist years ago. I think it's too late for me at this point. That's all right.
Do you
Oh,
live on
that's interesting. What?
do you live on caffeine?
I gave up. I'm really trying to like be a better human being all the way around. I'm trying to get rid of all vices, so I actually gave up. I was a soda addict. I would literally drink, I can't even tell you how many Diet Cokes a day. I'm surprised I don't glow in the dark or, set off the alarms everywhere I go. I had so much chemicals in me, but I gave that up probably about 4 or 5 months ago. I have not had any caffeine, and not that I know of. I mean, I'm sure there's somewhere floating around. But yeah, no, not anymore. But oh my gosh, I used to drink over 12 sodas a day. It was horrible. It was horrible. Caffeine was my friend or my enemy. I'm not sure which one.
Well, good for you, Derek.
Huh. Well, I'm working at it. It only took till the end of my life that I'm figuring out all the things I should have done at the beginning of my life. But it's all right. It's all right. We're getting there. So so security systems. Now we've actually worked together on some contracts. You guys do more than I think what at least what I thought of when we first met. You think of, okay, it's a locksmith but there's so many aspects to it, and especially with technology now. Why don't you kind of talk about that a little bit? I mean, there's the master key systems, there's AI coming down the pike now fast. How is all of that kind of changed that world?
Well, thanks for asking, Derek. And you're absolutely right. My husband is a second generation locksmith. His father started a locksmith business here in Naples in the 80s, and he worked downtown on Fifth Avenue. And for many, many years before he retired to Marco Island. And so my husband grew up locksmithing, but he noticed that security was going increasingly electronic. And so he got his own electrical license. And we do a lot more than just locksmithing now. We install and service surveillance cameras. We install and service vehicle gates, telephone entry systems, barcode scanners. We repair automatic doors. We do burglar alarms. And we're still a full service locksmith.
Wow. Yeah, I think and what about AI? How is that? Now, obviously, I know there's, I mean, the scary things people hear about facial recognition with security cameras and all of that, but how deep are you guys getting into that?
Well, I think that AI is a really useful tool. I mean, everyone knows Chat GPT. We use it in our emails all the time. The great thing about AI and surveillance cameras is that they're actually using AI to help people go through video footage. So in the past, when you were going through video footage of your security cameras, it took hours to go through the footage to catch the incident. But now it's going to be a lot easier and a lot quicker because you can prompt the AI to find someone with a white shirt, to find
Mm.
white truck, and then give you all those incidences. And of course, the importance of license plate cameras can't be overrated. It's really important that you have license plate cameras because just knowing that someone came in a white truck is not very useful. You have to have the license plate of the owner of the vehicle to really be able to go after somebody that either is loitering in your community or illegally dumping furniture at your dumpsters, or perhaps they do something worse like clip the gate and cause thousands of dollars worth of damage at the gate. So to be able to hold people responsible for the things going on in your community, it's really important to have a license plate camera. And the uniqueness of those cameras is that they can handle dim lighting and motion blur. And a lot of incidences at gates sometimes will occur at night. And so to be able to make out a license plate when you have the dim lighting and the motion blur of the car going through um, the lane, it really requires a specialty camera, and they are much more expensive than regular cameras, much more specialty, but they are far more powerful.
Yeah. So, what about the laws when it comes to all of that? I'm guessing there's some privacy laws that might get touched upon, but then again, it is private property. You have
Right.
every right as a community to know who's in your community. Are the laws getting more involved on the security side nowadays?
Well, I don't know about the laws. That would be a great question for an attorney, but I know that even the police like to get involved with this. In fact, the police departments have been encouraging communities to pay for services that will run license plates as they go through the community to help the police uh, enforce warrants and things like that. I mean, I think when you're driving on a public road, you're displaying your license plate publicly. I don't know that you can claim any privacy for that.
Yeah, that's true. I know. So I live on Marco, and I know the police are, 9 out of 10 times there's always a car. As you come over the bridge, there's always a car on the other side. And I was talking to one of the police officers, and I always thought, oh, they're looking to see if somebody's speeding as they're coming over the bridge. They're looking at license plates. That's what
Wow.
they're doing. They're literally checking license plates as you're coming into the area. So I think that'll just be more and more moving forward. Um, so I bet
Well,
you,
it'd be easier to do as that task becomes automated. So it's harder for police officers to take the time to stand there. That costs a lot of money to pay an employee to stand there. But as we're facing very much a crisis of good employees, just a crisis of manpower, I think that that's where technology is going to become our friend, and we're going to need the automation. to automate these tasks that can be automated and done by computers.
Right, right. Now, when it comes to the cameras around a community, and I know some of this because of what I do during the day. I deal with fiber optics, and these cameras. Do you see that they are mostly, we call it dark fiber, where it's going back to a central location. All those cameras are kind of going back to a central location with a recorder or whatever it is. Or do you see that there's a trend to get those online so everybody can access, or communities or security companies can access that online?
Well, absolutely. Both of those things are happening. A lot of times, management companies want a large monitor so that they can have those camera feeds monitored by either a guard or an administrative professional at all times in live real time. They also want to be able to access that feed through the cloud via their phones at any time of the night or day. And those are things that can happen with commercial grade cameras. These are apps for your phone where you can get the downloaded feed and keep tabs on your property at all times through your phone. Certainly, a central location where either a guard or administrative professional is watching the cameras is something that a lot of customers want as well.
Right. Now, when it comes to gates, and with my background in property management, gates were not my friend. There was so many times we would get a call, somebody broke through the gate, or it's malfunctioning or whatever the case is. Um, what do you, and I hate to bring this word up, but I've been bringing it up a lot lately. If a hurricane comes, what can you do from your point of view when it comes to gates, as far as prepping them, as far as dealing with them after the fact?
Well, it's real important that when you're expecting a hurricane that you take down your barrier arms and store them away. Some people have actually opted to take their metal gates off site and put them in a more secure or elevated facility. Had an issue with flooding lately with Ian and some of the other storms that have come through. We've never seen this kind of flooding in my lifetime that I know of. So this is a new experience. Another thing that we've been doing to help associations is putting their gates on risers and actually elevating the operators so that if there is flooding, that they're less likely to be flooded and ruined. But
No, that's good. Yeah.
another idea would be to actually take them off site and reinstall them after the storm. So that's
Okay.
another option that some companies are offering.
Now, you obviously deal with a lot of different aspects when it comes to security. What would you say are the main things that you as a company, what's kind of your bread and butter? What is the main, what are the main things that you guys deal with? Obviously, you got a lot of different pieces, you got a lot of different options that you can offer, but what are the main things that you guys do most days? What's the main area of focus?
Well, we do a lot with access control. So fob systems, repairing fob systems, installing fob systems, strikes, electronic access, automatic panic bars, electrified panic bars. We also do a lot with gates. Gates, as you said, are regularly impacted, and so they have to be repaired. So we do a lot of gate repairs. We also do maintenance contracts, and that's something that I think is really important for managers to have their gates maintained properly. That can help them to troubleshoot problems before they arise. I know we had a camera system one time. There was a gunshot that actually damaged a vehicle in a parking lot, and there was a camera system near it. And when we went to check the feed, the cameras hadn't been working in 3 months and nobody knew it.
Oh, no.
That's where having a maintenance contract where your security company comes through once a quarter and actually checks your equipment can be really important, because sometimes if you're not monitoring those cameras actively or you're not monitoring your equipment actively, sometimes things happen and you don't notice right away.
Yeah, unfortunately, that one sounded so familiar to me. We'll have to talk off air. I I actually managed a property where there was a gunshot that hit a car. I don't remember about the camera part of it, but I think I'm going to talk to you about that off air a little. I want that would be wow, that would be an odd coincidence, but hey, I guess these things maybe aren't as uncommon as you think. So, what do you see moving forward for this whole industry, for security, for the AI component within the security world? Everything's moving to electronic. I know on my house, I have electronic um, locks on my doors. So I get in using my thumbprint. I mean
That
that, years ago that would have been sci-fi, and now that's just every day for me. So how do you see the future looking for this whole industry?
Well, that's a great question, and that's anyone's guess. But at least for now, I think what's here to stay is mobile credentials. Um, Facial recognition was really popular several years ago, but then it kind of fell out of favor. And I think because for large communities, trying to flip through profiles of that many faces actually caused too large of a lag time, and people were impatient. However, mobile credentials are very secure because they're attached to your phone, and people don't generally share their phones with anyone.
Okay.
And they're very convenient. Everybody has their phone on them at all times. Usually, I would say even kids and older adults. Everyone has their phone constantly with them. And so it makes it very, very convenient. You're less likely to lose a fob. You're It's a very convenient and secure way to access your access control system. So I think
That's true.
today.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, actually, there is a move away from fobs because we're all carrying around this magical device that we can use for fobs for entry. That is true. Even your
Absolutely.
car, people can just they can start their car on their phone. It's it's an amazing world. Yeah, the phone. I don't know anybody. I mean, think about it. Anybody you know, if they misplace their phone for more than 3 seconds, there is an anxiety attack like no other. Oh my God, my whole world is in there.
Your whole world is in your phone. Well,
Scary.
don't even wear watches anymore because they have access to their phone. They can measure their heart rate on their phone. The phone has their bank account information, all their pictures, their social media. The phone has universal appeal and it's very secure and convenient, which is unusual to have something secure and convenient at the same time. So I think mobile credentials are definitely something that is going to continue and that people will probably take more advantage of.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I stopped wearing a watch years ago because of that. I thought, why am I wearing a watch when my I literally have my phone with me and that tells me the time? Yeah, it's a different world. I tell everybody if if I want to know what the future looks like, I go watch an old Star Trek show and everything comes true. Just go look at the 1960s Star Trek series from the communicator, which turned into the cell phone, automatic doors. I mean, I'm waiting for the replicator that it can just make my food. I mean, of course, we have the microwave, but I just want to tell it, just make me a chicken sandwich and have it pop up.
Or how about the transporter? Beam me up, Scotty.
Oh, that one, I might wait. I might have somebody else test that one out before me, though. Just in case. Sounds
There-
great, but I don't want to come out the other side as a goat or something.
But
Well, you know what? Thank you so much for coming on the show today. I truly appreciate it. Like I said, I kind of feel like I'm at the starting point with you on this show. You literally introduced me to so much of this world with HOAs, condominiums, co-ops, this whole world. And here we are, how many years later, uh, sitting down talking all over again. So thank you so much. I appreciate your time, Ruth Ann.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much, Derek. Appreciate the opportunity.
All right. So now we're going to do a little extra segment that will be part of the podcast. So it'll be a continuation of that, but also a little further. Now I want to actually talk to you about some more fun stuff. Like I know, you know, at the can event when Key was talking, and I think you mentioned it too. Stupid criminals that you guys see some fun things on the videos when you go through them. Do you have like a best of reel that you watch at holiday parties or anything?
Well, actually, he gets a lot of his stories online. Some of the things that people do, you can't even make out. There was a gentleman who decided to drink at a bar after hours, and he busted the bar and was drinking, and the alarm went off, and the alarm company called, and he answered the phone and gave his name. So you just can't make those things up.
Well, yeah, most criminals are not Harvard graduates, so yeah, I think there might have been something missing to begin with. Someone I knew was a private investigator. We'll leave it there on who it was. Somebody I knew, and they would take videos. You know, they would surveil people and for insurance mostly. You know, somebody who said that they had a back injury, and then her job was to go when they were renting jet skis to go rent jet skis right next to them so she could show that they're out there, you know, having lots of fun. But she would show us some videos. You know, this unknown person that I met once would show us these videos. Oh my gosh, so funny. People are just when they don't think anybody's looking, they're just not the brightest folk. But it is entertaining. I'll give you that. For the rest of us, it is fun to watch.
It is. You know, you're talking about privacy. And I think there are some people that do have the mistaken impression that there's some level of privacy at the pool. My husband was telling a board member that, no one would be naked at the pool. And he promptly went through some video with the board member, and a woman turned her body towards the camera, not realizing there was a camera, and she was topless.
Oh
And
no.
had to eat his words. So
Yeah.
people
And
do sometimes have the mistaken impression that there's a level of privacy that simply no longer exists in our world. Now everybody has a Ring camera and all kinds of things that maybe in the past would gone unnoticed are recorded for posterity and retained forever digitally.
yeah, and there was that controversy just a couple of years ago where law enforcement was basically using people's Ring cameras. I mean, I don't know if that ever got resolved totally, but I know that was a big controversy for a while that they wanted permission to use everybody's Ring cameras to keep an eye on neighborhoods, and not necessarily inside, you know, an association, just period.
Right.
And I know that caused a big stir for people just when it came down to privacy.
But again, if you're going to do something illegal, you have to understand there are cameras everywhere. So we actually had something really positive happen from Ring camera footage. A neighborhood right near me had a woman go missing. She was an
Mm.
elderly woman and confused. She had some dementia, and they were able to use the Ring camera footage to find her in a neighbor's garage. The neighbor out of town and didn't realize that she had gotten trapped in their garage. And they did find her alive and restored her to her family.
Oh, thank the Lord.
a ring camera footage actually saved somebody's life. And that can happen.
Wow. That's actually, yeah, I mean, yeah, people kind of forget that side of it too. I mean, I guess like with any tool or technology or invention, it can be used for good, it can be used for bad. I mean, just, I was back in the day in the 1800s when I was young, I was a firefighter for a decade. Um, and fire, I mean, hey, fire can be great or it can be bad. It doesn't matter what it is. So yeah, you just have to look at the good and I guess try to limit the bad as much as you can. So now I know Key was talking at an event that we were at, and what was that thing he had in his pocket? That it was like a decoder or what was that? He said like he could hack. It was like a hacking device. Do you remember?
Yeah, I do. And I
What?
don't know the name of it either. I want to say it was a fidget spinner, but I know it wasn't a fidget spinner.
No, no, but that's what it kind of reminded me of. It was like that small and compact and um but yeah, it was it was funny because he was walking around the entire room and then at the end of it, he was saying, "Yeah, and this can pick up your credit card information or whatever." And everybody's looking at him like, "I'm sorry, you just walked by me 3 times. You're telling me this now?"
Oh,
But I'm sure he's an upstanding man. I'm not saying anything, please, please. But that is scary, and I don't know if you still can, but you could buy that on Amazon or online. I mean, that's
right. You
what
can buy
I
Amazon.
guess. I guess it takes a while for the law to catch up to some of these things.
True.
I should, you know what? When you see them, ask them the name and then text me if you don't mind. I want to pick one up before they're completely outlawed. Not for any bad use, but just for fun. I just want to make all my family members nervous. That's all. That I can see what my kids are doing on their phone. That's all.
Yeah.
Nothing bad. Nothing bad at all. So, is there anything that you would like people to know? I mean, I want to make sure I give you the floor of this is a chance to educate the folks out there. Is there anything that you would like everybody to know within the guidelines of an association, within security, anything come to mind?
Well, that's a great question, Derek. And I think one thing that comes to mind is just the importance of maintaining your security systems. And I know we talked about maintenance contracts. I think they're really beneficial, but sometimes people are tempted when things break to let them go and let it slide. Maybe wait till you have the money, which may or may not ever happen. If you have security systems on your property, surveillance cameras, gates, access control systems, and you don't intend to maintain them for whatever reason, you should remove them. And that's really important. We've had customers that wanted to install fake cameras to try to give the impression that people were being surveilled when they were not. And we know that people have been successfully sued for installing fake cameras and giving the impression of security that did not exist.
Wow.
So I would encourage you never to form a committee that is called security or to advertise that you provide security because that's something that you simply can't promise. There's an association here in Naples, a very upscale association that advertised that they were a secure community, and they had some homeowners with that were invaded and robbed, and they successfully sued the association because the association promised them security and did not provide it. So it's really important that when you talk about cameras, you don't call them security cameras, you call them surveillance cameras. And when you talk about your systems, you talk about access control systems, not security systems. You can't provide security. It's simply something divine. And a very determined thief or assailant will get in. We've had
That is
had people attacked and things happen, sometimes because their systems were broken.
that is great, great advice. I remember I was actually when I was in the property on the property management side and came across a community and they wanted us to um, hire their quote security team, their gate, their guard gate folks and whoever was driving around. And we opted out because of that exact thing, saying, well, we can't, first of all, legally or insurance wise, we couldn't cover that we were then a security company. But the
Right.
second thing was our recommendation to them was you have to rename these people. You cannot call them security guards.
Right.
That right there opens you up. And I don't think people realize that. I mean, it's just been such a throwaway phrase for decades and decades, but I guess with litigation, you have to be very careful how you are advertising and just by naming them a security guard, you're advertising that they are creating security. Yeah, that's true. That is very true.
Absolutely. I mean, in the instance of the fake camera, if someone were to set their purse by the fake camera with the impression that if it was taken or messed with, somebody would be able to retrieve the footage. And that's not the case with a fake camera or certainly a broken camera. So if you do have systems that are not working, I would encourage you to just make a decision, either repair them and get them working or take them out.
That's great. That is great advice. Wow. No, that's great advice. Anything else before we go? That any other gems, any other nuggets of wisdom?
Well, I think it's important to lean on your professionals because you don't want, as a manager or as a board member, it's important that you don't try to be the end all and be all. It's a lot of liability to take on. And you really want to rely on the professional in the field that they're in. So you wouldn't ask security advice from your attorney per se. You wouldn't ask legal advice from your security company. You wouldn't ask the painter uh, for legal advice or for CPA advice. You want to rely on the professional in the industry in the area you're in. Sometimes board members are from out of state and they're not familiar with the laws here in Florida or with the environment here in Florida, with the types of plants that flourish here or the things that are important here. And so it's really important that you rely on the professionals that are working in the field right now in this area and let them advise you. Things are
That's
changing.
Yeah, that's fabulous. And especially Florida is very unique.
Agreed.
Um, People do come down here and they might be an accountant up north or an attorney up north or have dealt with construction up north. The laws and like as you said, the vegetation down here, very unique. Everything is very unique. You got to rely on your local experts. They're the ones that have been dealing with this day in and day out. They have the answers. Great advice. Well, thank you again. I actually have a lot of fun with this. And you are just such a nice person. You've always been so gracious, uh, willing to help out a guy like me when I was just new to the industry. Um, I I just appreciate how welcoming you've been throughout this entire time that I've known you. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much, Derek. You're a consummate professional, and it's great to be associated with you. So thank you for this opportunity.